to really consider each one of those words, which are valuable for us, right? In what we do as a professional and what we do as a human being. And for me, it's very touchy. Of course, I know that you are all about content, all about the structural design, all about bringing learning and development to the area of your expertise, to the organization where you work with. But for me, it's very important, the inspirational aspect, because each one of us is a leader in a way. I don't know if you are a leader for others, but you are a leader for yourself. You are the one that decides how you want to live your life, what are the values that are going to be fundamental and essential for the development that you are planning in your life. And today is my hope that with the caliber of a speaker that we have bring together, you really go out of this building inspired to do the best you can, recognizing that each one of you are valuable and that each one of you have a lot to give and to learn.
To be here with you, my hairs are standing up at this opportunity to be here with you in person and to share with you a topic that I absolutely am passionate about. So those of you who know me know that I have been branded as Anita the Passionista. And that was through clients who have answered the question, what was your experience of Anita? And the common denominator was, she's so passionate. And I'm like, yes. So my mission in life and in my work is to, like Maria said, guide leaders to be worth following. So she asked the question, how many of you are leaders? Okay, I'm gonna ask it again. How many of you are leaders?
I am.
Can I have all of you stand up for a second? All of you. Yeah. You are all leaders, and just like Maria was saying, you don't have to have the title to lead. Here's the next instruction. In your pairs, I want you to choose between A and B, partner A and partner B. Don't let her see your instructions. Same to you. A to A.
I do make it like
Exactly.
Yeah. So sorry you made this.
I'm so, and then, yeah, it's like, what do you do after that?
It got to a point where I just, I was fed up with it, and I told her, hey, if it's not work related, let's just not, talk. I can do my job, you can do your job, and let's see how this goes. I thought I was doing amazing at my job because I took a company who was $600,000 in debt to $5,000 something. So I did a whole lot of collections for them. So I thought I was doing good to keep my job, and then turned around and said I was fired because I didn't get along with the manager. So that's my chump story.
Yes. All right, thank you.
But if you went into his office and you were stuck on something or you didn't know what to do next, he had a way of giving you advice without giving you advice. So he would say things like, well, what would you do if the situation was perfect? Or what do you think would be the best course of action? And he'd just have these series of questions and just listen, like not say anything. And I'd walk out of there and be like, oh my God, you're awesome, Martha. Thank you so much for your advice. But it was a way to almost teach me self-reflection and a way to grow. So it was really important. Yeah.
Yay!
So we talked about how we're tempted to be maybe a little too transparent sometimes, and how that might come back to bite us. And there's a conflict between how we want to be and what we realistically can do. We there are some things we might not be able to say, even though, or should say, even though we might want to be. We talked about authenticity also, where promising transparency should come from the spirit of authenticity to say, okay, here's what's happening, here's what's going on, here's really the main picture.
Absolutely, excellent. All right, so what questions come to mind for the rest of the group when it comes to transparency? What else comes to mind? Now, thinking of being a leader worth following, where you inspire others or influence others.
We discussed relationship and how it's a skill that can be grown. Some of that is, we look to our leaders to build a relationship with us, but not just our senior levels. We really look forward to having a relationship, or a leader should have a relationship with all members of every level of a company or organization. And by relationship, it doesn't just mean oh, hey, how are you? It's a serious interaction that shows that they care about you.
Right.
The importance in a leader, if someone's wanting to learn something from you, that you have that open mind to be a mentor, as well as just making sure, of course, again, that you care.
Approaching it as a leader from the macro, the whole person, but also the micro, like what to do, what task, what to do next, and whether understanding to be shown needs to be tied to an action.
Yes, absolutely.
First group, second group. So I had a director who assigned me a task outside of my role and responsibilities, how that goes, and I did it, and it took a lot of hours and a lot of hard work. And after I was sourcing nominations for an award for the organization, we found somebody, they got nominated, they went to LA, and typically the senior leaders will go to support. And so, when our chief HR officer gave her flights and everything, she said, hey, actually, I want Christopher to go. And so she was like, are you sure? And so when she told me, I was like, are you for real? Like, you really want me to go? She said, yeah, you put in all the effort, the hard work, and the time, and you deserve this, so go enjoy. And I was like, oh, wow. So I went to LA for the first time. I was here.
That's a great example of good success.
So we talked first about the importance of checking your bias as you're looking at a situation. The importance of being committed to telling the truth and being comfortable with telling the truth, but doing so in a respectful and helpful way. We also talked about the importance of, around testing assumptions, of having the conversation. So you might have this entire idea of what's happened, or you've asked 5 different people what happened, and you get this picture. But the reality is, have the conversation, because when you have the conversation, it's oftentimes very different than what you might assume it's going to be. And we also discussed the importance of, when you are able to gather data in order to move forward into that conversation, have that data available to move into that conversation. But again, not necessarily the opinions of individuals, but true hard, like factual
Yes.
data.
Excellent. Thank you.
Is there anything that I missed? Team?
Courage.
Oh, courage.
Courage. Excellent.
It takes a lot of guts sometimes to tell the truth
Yeah.
and to ask the hard questions.
Exactly.
This is the closed captioning subtitles that are inside PowerPoint.
That's awesome.
So this is not something I've done. This is just my microphone on my laptop is picking up my voice and it's converting here. So I saw this done at NetLearn, and I started doing it at every presentation that I have done. And I've had people comment on it every time, so I just keep doing it. But because it's text to speech, it's just picking up my voice. It may throw some weird stuff up here, so just know that that's what's going on. So this is me. I'm a senior learning consultant at FIS, and that title is brand new, actually. I just took that title So what other challenges do we see? We see things like L&D professionals are seeing a shift in our roles. Those of you that were at Learning Solutions heard this discussion like the whole time. One of the huge things that's coming into our world is the HR stuff, the talent retention world, and coaching, and all this stuff that used to kind of not really be in the realm of training. It's now starting to come in. And what do we do? We see lots of teachers entering the field. Is there anybody in here? There you go. That came from the teaching space. I cannot tell you how many people I have seen in the last year that are like scurrying fast to get out of the education field in the K through 12 and coming over to corporate for pay, for politics, dealing with parents, all that nonsense that's happening. The respect and the time and the homework and bless you all. I have no desire to do that. But how do we as learning professionals deal with this? Because there's skill sets that need to happen here that are possibly not there because of the K through 12 space. They come in with a different set. There's a dramatic increase, like I said, in the pace of change, right? So things are changing all the time. And it seems like that was happening, but when the pandemic hit, all of a sudden stuff like escalated. And it's been like at rocket speed, and now we have, ChatGPT that launched at the beginning of the year has taken everybody for a We are looking at the skills of the future for things like software engineers and software architects and project managers, blah, blah, blah. And I said, what about this T-shaped thing? Do you guys agree with this? Does that work? And the guy goes, we've been talking about a T-shaped engineer. And I went, oh, there's a thing here. So I kept it. And I started thinking about how can I apply this to instructional designers. Then I was at NetLearn, and I saw this woman speak about long life learning. Not lifelong, but long life. And her hypothesis was that the person who's going to live to be 150 years old has already been born. And what do we do about that? How do we deal with careers that are going to be at 100? Right? Because obviously that person needs to be viable in the workforce, right? It can't be the old crew, the old person that's, that you think about when you think of somebody that's 100 years old. So this changes because now this is what college prepares us for, right? But what if it looked like this? And she showed this diagram, and I said, that looks like vampire teeth. But then I went, it looks like stalactites.
Yeah.
So I started calling it a stalactite instructional designer. It's stalactite skill set. And so it starts to look like this. Instead of having a little bit of knowledge about a lot of things and being a specialist, now you're going deeper on different things. And I just kind of pulled some out of the air that I know are common. So like media creation, psychology, visual design, IT skills, facilitation, business acumen, webinar production. Each of us is going to have a different need, right, in our businesses. But these are kind of the general skills of people that are in our field.
So we met Gary at Training Magazine because I like to say that we are learning agnostic at ATD Central Florida, right? If there's learning happening, we're there. And yes, we love ATD. We are ATD Central Florida, but we have great partnerships with Training Magazine, Learning Guild, and all of those. And that's how we met Gary. And Gary has a good topic for today on workplace communication training. And I think it really, it's great that we have you at the end of this because it's gonna make everything kind of come full circle.
Okay, so you're gonna have to go with your imagination here, okay? So I bring you now to a packed college basketball arena. The lights are down, the crowd is on their feet cheering. Number 1, Elizabeth Sigeti. We want to be the person whose emails get open. We want to be the person who commands attention in that conference room. So what I do is I help people and organizations communicate better at work. People have come to me and they don't like how their people necessarily show up at work. They're not showing up professionally in meetings within their organizations, with clients when they're on the phone or when they're sending emails, or when they're talking to leaders in their own company. So that's one of the things that I help folks with. These are the 4 courses that we work with live. So fundamentals of communication, writing and speaking, leading difficult conversations, and getting rid of filler. One of them is everything communicates, and this is something that we forget about quite a bit. And we sometimes we communicate in unintended ways, and it helps to learn what those things are so we can avoid them. Tell them a story. The power of storytelling is universal, going back to caveman days. You can use the same formula as storytelling formula that you will see in movies like The Wizard of Oz and Star Wars and all of those famous movies. You can take what they do and use them to take what might otherwise be dry information in the business world and make it a compelling story that brings people along with you, gets them psyched, and motivates them to action. Because that's why we want to communicate to begin with, right? We want to inform, we want to persuade, we want to influence. But knowing your audience is maybe the most important of the 3, but I won't cast any favorites. But understanding who you're speaking to, what motivates them, and so forth. Hugely important to make sure you're communicating the right things in the right way to the right people at the right time. Be authentic. We talk a lot about authenticity here. People have a high BS detector. They know it's true. They know when you are faking it. So be straight with people. Show appropriate emotion. Not only display empathy, but have empathy. Be who you are. Now, there's somebody I know that says, I don't like authenticity because what if you're a jerk and you're being an authentic jerk? Well, then you've got another problem. C is for clear. Stay away from jargon and TLAs. Who knows what TLAs are?
3-letter acronyms.
3-letter acronyms. Stay away from those. Because why? Because they're not clear to begin with. And frankly, I think they can be exclusionary. Because not everybody knows what everything means. And so you're in a meeting and they're talking about TPS reports or whatever it happens to be. And you're like, well, I don't know if I want to raise my hand and ask because I'm going to look stupid by not knowing and all of that. So stay away from that as much as possible. I also kind of have a disdain for these mysterious project names that keep creeping up in organizations. Oh, are you working on Project Copernicus? All the cool people are on Project Copernicus. You don't know what Project Copernicus is? Well, I can't help it. In some organizations, there are so many of those weird project names that people forget what they stand for. So it's just too hard to keep straight. It's exclusionary and it's just not clear. Don't cram too much in. I might be guilty of that tonight. Avoid being repetitively redundant over and over and over again. Now, there are some times where you do need to repeat things. Seriously. Because there is an adage where, I don't know if I buy this entirely, but where people say you have to communicate something 7 times before people understand it. There's a little bit of truth to that. Again, depending on the environment and what's going on. So there are some times you do need to repeat things, but not in the same conversation, not in the same email, not in the same presentation.
So they say in communication, you tell them what you're going to tell them, you tell them, and then you tell them what you told them.
Yeah.
There's just 3.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. But that's not being
repetitively redundant over and over
again. That's not being excessive.
Could you repeat that again?
I repeat. R is for relevant. We loop back to know your audience. Damn it, I just repeated myself. Why should somebody care, and what do you want them to know, feel, and do? Again, be specific with your call to action. Why should somebody care about what it is you're communicating about? It's not important that you think it's important.
Yeah.
It's important that they can tie it to their world, to something that they need to do, that's something that's going to affect them. I worked on a project once where somebody got a brand new purchasing system approved. He had been fighting this to get this approved for 8 or 9 months. He was so excited he got the budget for this. He wanted to announce it to the entire company. Great. When is the new purchasing system going into effect? When are we going to start using it? Oh, not for another 6 months. Oh. Well, then let's announce it in 6 months when we need people's attention, and not now when they're going to forget. No, we got to tell them about it. And so unfortunately, we had to follow his lead, and the whole thing got messed up because by the time we needed to do it, everybody had tuned. I thought we heard about that. I thought that happened already. They're already moving on to the next thing. That's all about, again, communicating the right thing to the right people in the right way at the right time. And be engaging. So use the correct word choice. Don't stay away from that, again, that jargon. Don't fall into the trap of leveraging new paradigms and all that kind of corporate gobbledygook. No large copy blocks in emails. If you want somebody to read your email, it can be fantastic content, but if it's in a large gray copy block, it's not so skimmable. Here we are in this world of Twitter and Snapchat and all that, when everything is in such bite-sized nuggets. Just break it up into bullet points. It's much more likely to get read, but still keep it short. And use visuals where appropriate. Again, icons or emojis are good.
How did you enjoy NetLearn?
I loved it. This is my first ATDCFL meeting. It was really engaging. Everyone was friendly. There was a lot of good information tonight. I walked away with a lot of information, and I walked away with a prize. So it was a great night.
It was great. I had fun, got to network, see some people I hadn't seen in a while, and got some great tips on leadership and communication.
It was wonderful. It's nice to get back together again, finally.
Great, thank you.
I loved it. I'm so happy I joined the chapter. This is my first meeting, and I met a lot of amazing people. The speakers were fantastic. The organization, I'm just 10 out of 10.
It was awesome meeting new people and hearing from the speakers. So thank you so much for having me.
I absolutely loved it. Getting to connect with like-minded individuals was really fun. I learned a lot of new things that I can't wait to take back home.
Great, thank you.